Welcome to Mad About Money. I'm Maddie Alexander-Grout, and this is the podcast where we talk to interesting people all about their interesting money stories. I am joined today by a fucking legend, like somebody who I absolutely worship in the world of business, somebody who I would call a dear friend, the fabulous, amazing Washington Ali. So Washington is a coach. He works with entrepreneurs and creatives to help them to make impact without burning themselves out, without getting in their own way, and helping them to show up as the people that they need to show up as. And that means that, of course, our values massively align with each other. He is an absolutely epic human, just a kind person. He's recently done Visible Fest with us as one of our stage hosts, and he is just somebody that if you are not following, you need to go and fucking do it right this second. Drop everything, even pause this podcast to go and follow him. Washington, it's an absolute fucking honour and pleasure to have you on this podcast with me today. I hope that introduction did you a little bit of justice.
Listen, that was incredible. I feel like there's nothing I need to say now. Everyone, just come follow me, hop into my world, watch some content, be inspired, step out of your comfort zone, and you have a great time.
Okay, podcast ends there, right? Everybody subscribe. I think we've got so much more to talk about than ending it right there. So, Washington, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Wow. A little bit about me is that I come from humble beginnings. My mum is my superhero. She's my guardian angel. My family are the village that supported me even when I tried to avoid her. And who I am as a person is someone who's confident, brave, happy. I say that I am God's love. I'm God's abundance. And whether you're religious or not, like for me, it's just a connection with that thing out there, you know. Yeah, that's who I am.
I love that. So I'm not religious, but I am spiritual. And for me, I believe that there is a higher power of some shape or description. There is a definite, I'm very much in line with the universe and like feeling like things are meant for me and they happen at the right time for me. So
That's it.
I absolutely feel that. I really, really love it.
And that's where I'm at as well. I think that there has to be a power, like a higher power, because like I just think to myself, how is there a blade of grass, a cow that eats a blade of grass, and then humans who can eat the cows, and then like this whole entire massive ecosystem? I'm like, bro, like there has to be something. And then, do you know what I mean? Well, that's how I think about it.
I think everything is here for a reason, and I do believe in science. I'm very much a Big Bang Theory type person, and evolution and genealogy, and like all of these kind of things. I really do believe that they all exist. I have many friends who are actually very religious. Like my best friend is a Christian, and she didn't have sex before marriage with this particular partner. But they decided, they met on a Christian dating website, and they decided to like hold out and not do the deed until afterwards. And we have some quite deep religious conversations because she respects the fact that my religion is spirituality, which she believes. Like the first time I ever told her I had a tarot card reading, she was like, "Whoa, no, that's like terrifying and like devilish almost." And then I explained to her about how that kind of felt for me, and I said to her, look, I don't believe in God, but I it's not my place to allow, but I am supportive of her religion and really supportive of the fact that she goes to church every Sunday. And it's weirdly though, she hasn't christened her children, but I've christened mine. So, well, one of them. The other one I just
go ahead on. You were like, no, this one needs protecting. Just in case.
That one's extra evil and needs the extra protection. No, I'll tell you what it was. It was like when we got married, the church was one of the most expensive things in our wedding, and I just had a baby. So yeah, he was a bastard for a while, bless him. But we decided that we were going to christen him at our wedding to basically save a bit of money. And like it was really fun. So like we had the wedding at one end of the church, and then everybody turned round for the christening bit at the back
Christening.
of the church. And then we thought, well, we'll get Harriet done at some point. And then COVID hit, and by the time COVID was over, she was 3, and it was a bit like maybe she doesn't need it. Although I think she probably does need it. Like if anyone in my family needs christening, I think it's Harry. She is a wayward child, but we love her. We love her. So anyway, that was a bit of a detour. But yeah, I think my views on religion are that every single last person in this, like on this planet, has something that they gravitate towards.
Yeah.
Whether it's God or Allah or like
The universe.
the universe, or like wherever they go in their path. And religion should not be something that divides us. It should be something that unites us, because we're all people at the end of the day. So that got a bit deep really early on, didn't it? We're only like 5 minutes in, but
Yeah, that's just how things tend to go with me. I'm not gonna lie.
well, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. So I am going to ask you the question that I ask everybody that comes to this podcast, and that is, what is your money story?
Yeah, this is probably a question that I don't get to divulge because it's from the very early days of my life where I don't necessarily get to share, you know? So when I was around 13, I was how do I explain this? So when I was around 13, my mum was starting to encourage me to start looking at what career I'd like to get
Yeah.
into. At the time, she had a friend who was an actuary. She was like, maybe look into financial planning, maybe look into becoming an actuary. And looking into that world actually became extremely overwhelming. You know, it's like, I'm 13. I've got no idea what it means to be an adult. I don't actually care to be an adult, right?
Right.
I'm just surviving my first few steps of being in year 7, and I'm in year 7, and like I went to private school, but I didn't go to private school via like normal routes. Like
Okay.
my mum divorced my dad when I was about 9, and she did everything in her power to um get me, my older brother, and my younger brother and sister into school. So that was, she went to uni. So part of her student finance would actually finance our education. She was still working at the same time and just figuring out how to do the school run and everything. So I'm in this world where I'm being told about a career. I'm also surrounded by, not everyone, but most people were pretty wealthy and well off. My dad's not necessarily in my life. So I'm hearing people talk about their mom and their dad does this and they do that, and they're going on skiing holidays and so on and so forth. And I was just
I've never wanted to go on a skiing holiday. Like literally, I don't think I'd rather do anything less. Like, I
you
want a break.
know,
I'm dyspraxic. I'm like,
this is what I'm saying. And I was like, what? And so I'm watching my mum fight for her life to give us the best possible future. And I'm existing in this, I don't care, but I have to care. If I don't care, then what's going to happen? And then I get into this very weird realm of, okay, what's the point of money? And then I start hating,
I love that question. Like,
you know, where does that question lead you when you asked it?
I mean, for me, I always say that money is not a product. Money is an exchange of energy. So for me, money is all about how I can help people in the world, and the more money that I can earn, the more money that I can, the more people that I can help with the byproduct of that energy.
Yes.
So money is a flow. Money is not something that we should be scared of. Money is not something that should have a hold on us.
Yeah,
That's my kind of view on it.
I hear that. And I wish I had that then, because my view of it was that it's not the be all and end all. And I was taught that it wasn't the be all and end all, but there were so many factors in my life that this object came a value or a conversation. And so I started saying to myself, well, I had a conversation with my older brother. And I said to my older brother, like, dude, I don't think there's a need for money. I think we could just like exchange goods with each other. If I've got grain and you need salt, like why can't we just like barter that way? Like what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
So I thought,
I mean, hold the fort there here a second, Fred. I mean, like, since when have you not told me about this older brother before? Like, I mean, the whole thing, right? And I have to explain this. Like, I have a
yeah,
big crush. I've got a big crush on Washington, right? But he's way too young for me. So the fact there's an older brother in the mix now, I'm getting quite excited.
yeah. So I've got an older brother. He just turned 30 in February,
Oh, that's still
and
not old enough, for
ah,
fuck's sake.
it's
Oh,
and then I've got a younger brother who's just turned 20, and I call him like me 2.0. So he's everything like me, but like
oh,
100 smarter, more philosophical, more. I'd listen. I'd He had me as an older brother, right?
fair point. Yeah, I like that.
uh, uh, so I tell my older brother, like, hey, dude, like, I think we like I think world should be like this. And he's like, and then I tell him, don't tell anyone. He doesn't know what to do with me. He's like, dude, you're bloody crazy. What's going on? And then he tells my mum, and then my mum like comes to me and she like starts off having a really heart to heart conversation with me, and then she just like, and then I'm just not being coachable, shall I say, or not being enrolled in that vision. And then my mum was just like, okay, I'm just gonna leave you here. And so I started hating money. I started disdaining it. I started really, really just despising it. And it fed this thing within me that I felt as if I had to perform. So
Right.
I had to compensate for for not being able to, I don't know, go on holiday like 4 times a year with boisterous character, being very destructive in the classroom. Like, don't get me wrong, I was pretty smart, but it was like I was, let's say a C B student. Yeah, a C. Let's say a C student. Yeah.
I mean, that brings me on to one of my other themes, because we have a few themes within this podcast. Neurodiversity being one of them.
Mm.
So most people that come into my world are either diagnosed or potentially think they have traits. Where do you sit on that fence?
Listen, I am 100%. I'm not diagnosed, but I'm 100% on the ADHD spectrum, and maybe I have a bit of spicy brain in there as well. Do you know what I mean? And a bit of
Yeah.
autism might be in there. And the reason being is because number one, I have so many different interests.
Yeah.
And I can lock in on an interest and not become a master, but become very, very well versed, very, very well quickly, that I can engage in conversations, not know the most. And then secondly, my brain has this ability to pick up on patterns so well,
Yeah.
so clearly. So how I became so good at coaching or even at speaking or at everything that I do is when I've had my coaches coach me, or I've been in group coaching settings in like large intensives. Of course, I've got coaching qualifications with the ICF and solutions focus and NLP, yada yada yada. Yeah, it's like even before I was there, I could notice the patterns of like, oh, this is the structure of the day. The reason why this breakthrough happened here, this breakthrough happened here, for
Mm.
myself as well, and also other people. I'm just like, I'm piecing it all together, and so yeah, so like I'm so spicy, mate. I'm so spicy.
Love it. I mean, like, not that I didn't know, because I mean, I think we have this thing, right, where when we are neurodivergent, we can spot it in other people. Like, I actually had this thing, right, that you know, when Sarah Pascoe, the comedian,
Yes.
she did a video the other day on Instagram, and it was a comedy sketch about how when you've got ADHD, you diagnose all your friends. And it was funny, but it was also like something where I was like, hang on a minute, I'm gonna have to comment here, because the whole narrative in the neurodivergent world at the moment is that people think that ADHD is this funny, silly, non-existent like condition, especially when it comes to public and figures and the news and like all that kind of stuff. So I
Mm,
did a comment to say, I know this is satire. I know it's meant to be funny. However, you're massively invalidating people's experiences, and self-diagnosis is super valid. Like, when somebody says to you, I think you've got ADHD, it probably means that you do, because it does take, when you do have it, yes, we do technically we can see the traits in our friends, so we can say to them, possibly it might be a good idea to go and get a diagnosis. So no, I did this comment on her Instagram post. It's
Yeah.
got me like 4,000 new followers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it did go really well. I mean, I did have some people going, "Oh my god, fucking Killjoy!" You know, you're like, it's clearly comedy, and I'm like, yes, it's funny, but it's also something that is helping the media's narrative of ADHD as a whole to be this whole like wacky, silly condition that actually isn't particularly disabling for people, and it is. So
Yeah.
I'm glad I made the
Well,
comment anyway. But
I'm
yeah,
really happy you made the comment because I think what the joke does is kind of make it mainstream, and like exactly what's happened. There's someone like yourself who sees the joke in it, but also recognizes that, hey, look, this also needs to be highlighted. This needs to be shared here. And the people who were there, they probably watched it and found it funny, and they were like, yeah, I'm going to follow Maddie because it's like she really cares for what's going on, you know. So it's like it doesn't necessarily have to be taboo one way or another. There just has to be that level of understanding with each other to be like,
yeah, it's a conversation, and you know, I was in no way going, Sarah Pascoe, you're a shit comedian, because she's really
exactly.
funny. You know, she's really cool, she's really funny, but sometimes jokes don't fall well, right? And
Yes.
it's like, I mean, there are certain people who make jokes about religion, jokes about race, jokes about sexuality, and in a world where we're fucking trying our hardest to be really inclusive, to actually validate people's experiences, those kind of jokes in my world, I don't find that funny at the moment, and you're probably the same. Like, I think
Yeah.
there are humorous elements of so many different things, but if unless you are somebody who, you know, especially when you're out there in the world, and you're somebody who, you know, has a lot of followers, a lot of influence, and a lot of trust, that's when we really do need to start thinking like, actually, what I say can be damaging to people. So anyway, I went off on a tangent there. Carry on with your story.
No, that's so beautiful. You know what? I completely agree. There's a level of responsibility that our words hold, you know, and people come to us because we are a safe container. We are there to be the light bearers, to be the protectors until people have the strength to do that for themselves. And that's what we're there for, right? Helping people gain their strength, discover it, and then go back out into the world, maybe create their own community or create something else that they feel that they have the power to give now, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
Um,
It's about that courage, isn't it? And you know, I teach in all of my programs that, you know, you should show up authentically as yourself. But for some people, right now, that's really fucking scary. And actually, it could be dangerous. If
yes.
you don't feel comfortable showing up as your authentic self, supporting other people who are maybe representing groups that you want to support. You know, there are, and also I guess it's staying in your wheelhouse as well. So, like, if you, for example, like if you are not somebody who works directly with the trans community, like, is it going to be damaging for you to go and show up and talk about all the trans rights stuff, or is it going to add value to your business? Or could you just be supporting other people who are talking about it?
Mhm.
Same with the disabled rights stuff. You know, I talk an awful lot about disability rights because, of course, I'm a disabled person, and you know, most of my community are disabled in some way. I help underrepresented and marginalised founders to be more them, because do you know
Yeah,
what? Life isn't fun unless you can be yourself. It's fucking shit sometimes.
couldn't
So,
agree more.
but it's about finding those boundaries and working out how you can show up, how you can be authentic without being scared or damaging yourself or opening yourself up to shitloads of trolls. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I do also teach people how to deal with those nasty bastards as well. Because, you know, trolls are keyboard warriors, and you know, I've got a very strong rule for trolls, and
Mm,
that is, if somebody trolls you, do you know them? A. If you don't know them, chuck them in the fuck it bucket. If you do know them, like, work out, are they somebody you would send a birthday or Christmas card to? If they're not, fuck it bucket.
yeah.
If they're somebody who you would send a Christmas card or a birthday card to, consider having a conversation with them about how your values are misaligned. Because I feel like, you know, if, like, I have had certain friends that have, you know, incredibly different views to me. It doesn't mean I'm not going to be friends with them. It just
Yeah.
means that maybe I will avoid certain topics. But also, if they're out there actively campaigning against things that I do not agree with, they're probably not really friends, and they're probably not people who align with me in my world.
Yeah, I hear that. I think that's fair. And I've been my whole entire premise around the work that I do is that when you come into my world so that you have the power. And my world is for everyone. When it comes to advocating, I would say that I am an advocate out there in the world 100%. So
Mm,
whoever I see, you are my people, so wherever you come to my events, you are my people, and those boundaries of, or should I say, values of community, of understanding human to human relationships or
yeah,
dynamics, of understanding that either you have integrity or not, or what else, and yeah, really those three, four things are really the core pillars around the work that I do, in terms of the values I hold for my business. Because I think where people miss is, even if your values misalign, in not to the extreme, not to the extremes, right? But there's
yeah,
most people sit somewhere where it can be negotiated.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And
that,
it's like,
yeah,
I live, that's where I live, and I say, like, essentially, you want to be unreasonable in what you believe in and what you care about, and being unreasonable means going to a pride march. It means taking, I don't know, your best friend's grandma to the airport because you care about the community aspect. But
yeah.
most people wouldn't actually do that, right? It's being unreasonable means putting your first foot forward to do the things that other
Are
people will be
wrong.
like, oh, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that. That
Yeah,
someone, their family, their friends, their community should take care of that. No, it's not about that. It's about what's right in your heart, right in your
yeah,
soul, and then you move in that. And to touch on kind of side project to that, is that the way social media is most commonly used is actually removing people's belief in being unreasonable for their community members, for their family members. That level of what's that saying? It takes a village to raise a family. Then there are no more villages, you know. And it's like, I know your community is a village, by the way, Maddie. I know it's a
oh,
village.
it is. Yeah, and I completely get this. I mean, like, I don't want to cut you off there, because what you're saying is really good. But I think, and again, on this podcast, we're all about interrupting each other, because it's a spicy podcast. But with Mad About Money, the vision that I have for Mad About Money is that it is a social media community. It is a social media community for people who don't feel like they can unmask and be themselves in typical, stereotypical kind of social media environments. So
Mm.
if you are neurodivergent, if you are trans, if you are queer or non-binary, or whatever, people who are trying to show up as themselves, but they're worried about the hate, Mad About Money is a place where they can show up and not worry about that hate, because it is full of inclusive and accepting and understanding people. They might not all be people who are campaigning actively for those things. However, they are not people who are actively campaigning against those things.
100%. Well, they're people that, if they're in the street and they see injustice, they're going to step in,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
and those are the people you need, because not everyone is a light bearer. Some people are supporting acts, and, like, respectfully, by the way, everyone,
yeah,
respectfully, but it's like, like, everyone has their own fight to fight, but it doesn't mean that they won't be fighting other people's fights in a way
yeah.
that is unconventional. But yeah.
So what I always say, like, because somebody the other day was like, "Oh, this sounds like a really fucking woke app. Like, you can't go in there because it's way too woke." And I was like, "Do you know what? Call it woke if you want. Like, it's not woke. It's accepting. It's understanding. I don't care if people call it woke. I mean, it's absolutely fine by me. And woke is not a bad term. However, it's like, what we don't appreciate is people coming in to cause trouble, people coming in to make anybody feel uncomfortable. It's about kindness, it's about acceptance, and it's about being civil. And, if somebody is different to you and you don't particularly agree with it, it's not about you coming for them. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like, people are allowed their opinions, people are allowed their differences, but if it comes at the cost of somebody else's like mental health or well-being, that's when we go, fuck off, you're out, because it's not a community that we're building for people who don't tolerate each other.
Yeah, boom. And do you know, on that point, yeah, I'm gonna come back to my story because my worldview about money, about hating money, really impacted my mental health. It impacted the way that I was able to relate to other people. It made me act like a caricature of a human being. I wasn't happy with myself, and I was just consumed by money, or I was consumed by fitting in, which I thought was about money. Right, so like I'm in this like vicious circle of a loop that I can't get out of, and where it led me was when I got to college. I dropped out of college, started making music, and smoking a shit ton of weed because I was like, yeah, free world, baby. And I was making like conscious hip hop / grime music. So I thought that was my route. Yeah, I've got some bars for you if you want it, but
I
a bit later.
totally want to hear all this. Like, absolutely.
You know, and so that it made me spiral so hard into like a complete opposite direction where my career prospects started dwindling. Well, I thought they weren't because I was pursuing music, and like anyone who's pursuing music, I love you. Shout out to you because like that's a rough game.
Have you heard any of H's stuff?
Yes, I have. Oh my goodness. They
Like,
have the most beautiful voice. They strum like a mofo. Like what?
just insanity. Like, I mean, like when they did that, like they did a new song and sent it to me, and I'm not supposed to talk about it actually because it's supposed to be a secret. But like, just anyway, the power in their voice is just absolutely incredible, and just it's also like my type of music as well. I'm like definitely an alt girl, and that kind of opened up a massive music conversation about like loads of bands that we like that are the same and stuff. But to be honest, my music taste is so varied. Like I love a bit of Stormzy. Like,
Yeah.
I think I can get down with the grime. Like
Yeah.
I'm really kind of eclectic. The only music I really don't like, and I think this is because of my neurodivergent brain, is jazz. I can't get on board with jazz because it's way too unpredictable. There's no predictable beat.
No, listen, I am a jazz lover, but there's this guy called Berlioz, or I think that's how you say it, and he does jazz but with like house, right? So you still have the consistent beat going, and then you just have the flair of the trumpet and I'm very upset you said you don't like jazz. Like,
Well,
God
I
damn
mean,
it. I thought we were gonna be besties.
I can always be swayed, and like, I mean, I've got a friend who's in quite a big band actually. Like they're called Big Train. But yeah, they're kind of jazzy, and like every time I talk about not liking jazz, he's like, and I'm like, well, like I will listen to stuff, but to me, some jazz is like elevator music, and I'm like, oh no.
Oh yeah, no, I hear that.
But I mean, I love funky house, drum and bass. Like, but my thing is like punk and pop, like pop punk. That's my big thing. But this is why in my book, every single last chapter is named after a song, because music is my roots, and music actually is the dopamine that is always constant. That's such a
I
mic
love
drop
that.
thing to say. It is though.
It
Music is
is.
the dopamine that's always constant. It is like, and you can there's just infinite choice of what you can listen to all the time.
That's
Anyway,
it.
again, I interrupted you. I'm
No,
sorry.
that's okay. That's okay. I love it. So we'll talk about music. So yeah, I ran away from home, and what happened? Yeah, so I ran away from home. Started living with my best friend's, one of my good friends, Sandro's house in his flat. We like what? So the flat was like on one level, and then three steps up into his room. So what we did was we split half the kitchen / living room, made it into my bedroom, and that's where I lived for like a good year and a bit, which was really cool. It was like amazing. And then one day Sandro comes to me and he's like, yo, Wash, like you need to get jobs. You need to get a job. And I was like, oh my goodness, yeah, I do. But what I did was I tried working in like a literally used to be what a recycling center.
Okay.
And that was really rough. The smell was horrible. Like it was just not it. And I'd have to wake up at like 4 a.m. to be there for 5. I made that work for like 2 weeks, and then I just went so hard. And then I was like, I can't do this anymore. Then I just went so hard in creating shows. So we'd go to the local pub. We'd charge all our friends £2 a ticket. We'd go to yeah, and then I went on the internet. And then I found this guy who was saying like, okay, send us your music and you can do a show in Scala, and we got a show in Scala. So my relationship with money started changing ever so slightly, because I was like, I've got to survive, otherwise Sandra is going to kick me out. Sandra kicks me out, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
And then this girl that I was dating at the time said to me, have you ever read Rich Dad Poor Dad? And then I was like, oh, my mum told me to read that book. And then I didn't read it. But the whole entire concept of like, there's a rich dad and there's a poor dad, I was like, okay, cool. Like it must be important. It must be important. And like, I've got a girlfriend, or a potential girlfriend now. Like I've got to sort myself out. But I didn't, because I kept on smoking weed and I kept on doing this, that, the other. And my mind completely deteriorated. Long story short, my mum allowed me to come back home. And when I went back home is when like I started experiencing crazy symptoms of paranoia, like craziness, like undiagnosed psychosis, and
I can
mistrust from, so you can imagine it's a world where you just feel like you're in a cage.
imagine.
And one day, about 8 months after I've been at home, my mum calls me into her bedroom and she says to me like, hey Wash, look, I need you to help me help you, because I don't know what to do, son. Like, let's just do something. We stayed in there for silent for a good, I don't know, it felt like an hour, but maybe it was 5 minutes. And then she says, I know what, go get the Vans that you wore out. Cause I'm not street rap, right? I'm very like backpack, Vans, checkered shirts, striped shirts, this, that, the other. So she's like, go get your Vans. And then she'd bought me a pair of Air Forces like a week or two before, to like, I guess like retail therapy type vibes, right? And then she calls me into, she says, get them. I bring them into the room, and it says, take a look at your Vans. And my Vans were tattered, mate, like absolutely wrecked. And she says, that's who you are right now, you know? And that was rough. I was like, whoa. And then she says, take a look at your Air Forces. And then she said, look, the Air Forces represent something brand new. Yeah, I'm not promising. She wasn't promising me fame. She wasn't promising me more money. She wasn't promising me. Oh, I've got some fluff here. Anything like that. She she
A
just
squirrel. That was very ADHD of you there. Anyway, this is an important story. Let's not get distracted.
yeah. And then she said, choose. What do you want? And then I chose the Air Forces. Took all of my old clothes that I used to wear, put them in Southend, is where I grew up. They used to have pink recycling bins, so I put all my clothes in there, and then we put them up in the loft. And then I got into meditation. I got into breath work. I got into like working out properly again. Cut off all my friends that I was hanging out with at the time, and it was just me and the family again. 3 months after that, my mum's like, look, you need to go to networking events. My mum wanted us to like look at the property fad that's going on with all the Instagram ads. She was like, go to this event, see what it's about. It will help you gain your confidence. So I went to one. I came back a bit electrified. I was like, oh my goodness, like, whoa, something happened here. I was extremely uncomfortable though. I didn't speak to anyone. I was just a shell of myself. I was just there listening.
Yeah.
I didn't have my what's it called? I didn't have my BTECs or A levels, because I dropped out. So she was like, look, you need to get back into school. So I did a City and Guilds course for my English and maths, just to get me back into the flow of things. And I'm just going to more events, more business events, public speaking events, and just immersing myself into this world where ordinary human beings are saying that, hey, look, I've managed to earn £5,000 and it's helped me support my family. I've managed to earn £10,000 and it's I'm able to start a family. I'm able to like leave my mum's house. I'm able to think about other people apart from my own survival. And then something starts turning in my mind that, oh wait, maybe money can be used for something else, something that I actually care about, rather than the vanity, rather than just holidays and things like that.
Yeah.
And I got started to get really connected to, actually, do you know what? I've had a woman here who's fought tooth and nail for my existence, for my siblings' existence. This is who I can do it for, for her, and of course my siblings. And we go to like a free property event in Peterborough. Um, we go there like multiple times, and one day we meet in. By this time, by the way, I've moved to Canterbury with my older brother because he was at uni. My mum's like, "Yo, look, you need to get out of Southend. You stay in this uni accommodation. I'll just figure out a way to make it work."
Yeah.
Yeah, so me and him, we stayed in the same place, and then we're like, oh, we can do rent to rent in Canterbury because it's a uni town. There's so many people replenish every single year. We won't have any issues. And then we create a proposal, I started doing all the viewings, talking to estate agents. Like my older brother was as well, but like I was
Yeah.
just like super super hungry about it, and like this flair of just like, wow, like I'm 18, 19. No, I'm 19, and I'm being treated like an adult. I'm 18, 19, and this whole entire world of possibility is opening up for me. And then we meet this guy, Steve. Steve invested, I think it was Steve invested the first, I think it was 7.5k, so that we could get two houses in the property business.
Wow.
And we met Steve at a free event, and he just loved me and my older brother's energy. So my older brother's like way more composed than me, and then I'm just like, you know. So he loved the contrast because like I'm the people person, my older brother's the numbers guy, and then I'm like, oh wow, like money is, and then like I started, the narrative started changing, like it's something different. Um, and yeah, I'll just stop there because I've been talking for a very very long time. But like
Yeah.
that's where my money story started to change.
I love that. I really do. So how did you get from the property stuff into the coaching stuff?
Yeah, so I went to another like this time it was like a um this time it was like a bros business event, right? In London.
Yeah,
And
London Central.
yeah, literally. And who was there? So so Tony Robbins' son was there, Jarek Robbins. I forgot his name. One of the Wealth Dragons were there, but they don't use the name Wealth Dragons anymore. And outside, uh, Just Ask Questions and Simon Headley had a stall, or they didn't have a stall. They were just chatting, and they were wearing these like golden acupuncture grenade things that you hold, and they like instantly make you feel calm. And I didn't let you know, but like I was going through my spiritual era. Like spirituality before I got to personal development is actually what helped me heal. So it's listening to a lot of Alan Watts, a lot of meditation. I did share that, and understanding my chakras, understanding detachment, understanding like so many spiritual laws, understanding existentialism, ontology, like a whole world, bro.
Yeah.
So I'm regaining my mind whilst the property stuff's happening, and I have a lot of time because I only have to go to college for English and maths because I failed my GCSEs as well, guys. Like so, like
Nothing to be
statistically,
ashamed. You know what? Nothing to be ashamed of because they're really fucking boring.
yeah,
Uh, like, and I can't even remember the last time. I mean, the thing is, like, when you first start out and you've had no experience, and you go to a job interview and they're like, "What grades did you get?" That's like, I think more people need to consider entrepreneurship. Like, I have this thing with my son. Like every day after school, when I pick him up, we get in the car and he's like, "How much money did you make today, mummy?" And I'm like, I made this much money. I didn't do this for it. And he's like, well, that's not very good, mummy. Why didn't you have a very good day today? And I'm like, well, actually today, like, well, I slept in the afternoon. Like, I didn't have any calls today. I didn't do any marketing material. And he's like, right, so you have to you have to do marketing to make the money. And I'm like, yes, mate. So we have like really frank conversations because I want my kids to do interest-based learning. Like, I went to university because I felt like I had to. I felt like I should.
no.
And don't get me wrong, it was the best experience. I had a best and worst experience of my life. Like, I had some proper shit stuff go down at university. You can read about it in this lovely book here. But I had also some really, really good times, and I made some best friends. And like, there are some people who are my best friends now in this world who I would never have met if I hadn't had that experience. That's a really cool book. I like that one. Check you out. Oh, okay.
Sure.
I have to tell. I have to tell the story. I have to tell the
Please,
story.
please,
The
please.
hilarious story of when I found out I had an Amazon #1 bestseller. It was really funny. So anyway, Washington was the first person that I told I had a #1 bestseller. And the reaction that Washington had was like one of pure elation. It was absolutely incredible. And he shouted to the whole room, Maddie's just got a #1 Amazon bestseller. And everyone cheered and clapped. And it was really, really great. And then afterwards, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, I should have recorded a TikTok. And then Washington tried to reenact it. And actually, I feel like when I posted this interview that we're going to have to post that video, because it is Washington should never be an actor. But it was like, when you know the story behind it, it's absolutely hysterical and really funny. I feel like actually that's going to have to go in book #2 with a link to the video of like where we share it, because it is absolutely brilliant. But like, it was like, yay, yeah. Honestly, so funny. But yeah, it was good. But this is the thing, right? Like, when with GCSEs and stuff like that, I feel that parents push their kids to be academic when actually not all kids are academic. We don't always need to go down the academic route. Like, entrepreneurship is a totally valid and probably more likely to make you more money than it is going and working for the man somewhere. I don't know why he's a man. I don't know why we genderfy this guy, but like, yeah, I know. I don't like him very much. Because especially if you're neurodivergent, when you are going into the world of work is not particularly inclusive for people who have got spicy brains. So that's just my take on it. I feel like actually GCSEs are, it's nothing to be ashamed of not getting GCSEs. I scraped mine by the skin of my teeth. Okay, some of them the academic ones I scraped by the skin of my teeth. I got a D in history, I got a C in science, I got a C in maths. I did, however, in the creative subjects, get A's and A stars, like art and textiles and literature, like, writing, creative writing and all those kind of things. I did really well in, because I'm not an academic. So yeah, it's just one of those things where I think when you've got a neurodivergent brain, if you've got neurodivergent kids, let them follow what they want to do within reason. I mean, if they want to be a rocket scientist, obviously you're going to need to make them do maths.
Yeah.
Because, there are certain things it's needed for, but there are also certain things that it's really not needed for. So
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I want to send my kids to like a Montessori. I don't mind homeschooling either. Because I think for me, of course, like school helps and uni helps and things like that. But my biggest learnings have been around other people. Like I said, pattern recognition. But it's more that once you immerse me somewhere, like I am like a squid and it just like puts their tentacles absolutely everywhere. And I wanted to just
sorry,
just
I'm
no,
bad brain.
no, it's all right. It's all right. It's like, do you know what I mean? So I think it's important to have that world of like being able to fully immerse. Like, you're lucky you can do bring your kids to a work day and they'll be at home and you'll be like, look, today this is what I've done. This is what it looks like. And those conversations, by the way, you're having, chef's kiss, so beautiful, so beautiful.
We love it, and I wrote my other book, which I don't talk about that often, but this book, That's My Money, which is my children's money book, teaches people how to educate their children on money. It even has a game in it, like, that you can use with coins. It's very good. This was my first book. Like, when people say like about my book and they're like, your second book, I'm like, oh yeah, I did actually write that other one as well. But yeah, that is there for that reason, because kids form their money opinions at a really young age, like the age of 7. So we should be doing something. I mean, should is something that I hate the word should. We don't like it, but at the end of the day, if we don't educate our kids and help them to make the right decisions early on, they could end up going through life depressed like I did, and that's not cool. So anyway, we are coming to the end of our time, which is really sad, because I would love to talk to you more about this. But where's the best place for people to go and connect with you, and how can people work with you?
Yeah, so the best place for people to connect to me is either Facebook at Washington Alley or Instagram at becomealive.washington. And really, look, I say I help people who are rich in results or rich in spirits, but they're poor in peace, right? And I help them be better than they look on paper. And what that means is like, look, you're alive right now. You've made it to this point, to this point, and either your business is winning ridiculously well, or you're just doing well enough to carry on going, right? And to 99% of the world, you're 1%. You're top 1% of the world. To the global majority, you're the top 1%. So instead of you living your life in what I call human doing, which is what I do plus how well I do it equals who I am, I help you shift into who you are, which is you're Maddie. How are you, Maddie? Which means how you show up as you, right? You can be show up as confident, brave, happy, whatever, and that equals what you do. So I bring people into their being, into their core essence, and like just be better than the results that they already have, which ultimately increases impact. Like otherwise, how would I be sitting next to you, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm in being. I'm not in doing. I'm in being. I just be who I am, how I am, or how I want to be, and that helps me generate the results I want. And I show, teach, guide others to do the exact same.
Fucking love that. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you with me today. One of my favourite humans on the planet at this moment in time, the lovely Washington Alley. If you are listening to this podcast on Spotify or Apple Music, please subscribe. Please leave us a review because reviews really help. If you haven't downloaded Mad About Money app yet, please do. It is no longer in the App Store. I will be putting links to it in all of my stand stores so that you can go and download. It is completely free. We do have paid communities within the app. So if you want to join Invisible to Influential, it's £20 a month. Or if you want things like money coaching, you can upgrade to Mad About Money VIP, which is £3 a month. Absolute bargain. And you actually get to come on calls with me and stuff and chat about your money situation so that I can help you to have an improvement in your money and your life. I'm Maddie Alexander-Grout. You can follow me on all the regular platforms. Maddie Talks Money on Instagram, Mad About Money Official on TikTok, Maddie Alexander-Grout on LinkedIn. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Make sure you share this episode with your friends if it resonated. We'll see you next week.